Hey, listen, there's not a lot of opera in, actually, there's not a lot of dancing in opera.
Yeah, there's also not a lot of opera and dancing.
Fuck off.
That Venn diagram is a very thin crossover.
It is.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business.
Mamma mia, here I go again. My
Of the music
Bada bing, bada boom, all day, all night. That was me. That was me pressing yes. That was me pressing
I might
record.
be like a quarter of a second off because I was slightly bamboozled by the not saying go of recording, but
Go. That's how all official races start. They don't say 3, 2, 1, go. They say bada bing, bada boom, all day, all night.
hey boss, I got you the flowers, the bada bing roses, and the bada boom peonies.
I have been telling everyone about the sweetheart. Don't worry about it.
Sweetheart, don't worry about it.
It's so funny.
Good. I can only hope that phrase just permeates itself throughout every workplace.
It's so satisfying to say with a bit of a New York
It
accent.
absolutely is.
All right, welcome back to the podcast. This was an interesting one.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna cut right to the quick. We are doing Carmen Jones, which is a Hammerstein musical.
Yes.
That is based on a Broadway production that was based on the opera.
Yes.
And my very first note is, how did they turn an opera that is almost 3 hours long into a 1 hour, 40-ish minute musical?
They cut a lot of songs.
They cut a lot of songs. And yet they still had time for a long-ass title sequence.
They did. Yeah, it was really... So I was interested in watching this one. One, because Dorothy Dandridge.
Mm-hmm. Harry Belafonte.
And Harry Belafonte. I mean, it's a good cast. I didn't know anything about it going in, and I left similar to the feeling that I had in Evita a bit. Evita, I was like, hands down, too long. This was not too long. This actually felt like a good length of time.
Yeah. Could I still have made cuts? Absolutely, because I'm ruthless. But this wasn't...
Yes.
You're right, Evita was too long, and this was not too long.
But then there were other, and we'll get to it when we get to, the ending. But, it was...
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. It's a very tragic ending.
Yeah, I feel like I would have liked it more if there was a sprinkling of comedy. And
that's the subject matter.
I know, but you can have a serious subject matter and have a moment where you laugh in
Any
a
moment
movie.
of levity, yeah.
Any moment of levity. That was kind of what I was missing in this, because we get to the giggle section and I got hands down nothing. There was not a single giggle in this movie, and I had the same thing with Evita, where Evita ended and I was like, there wasn't anything funny. It was a good story and it was told well, and it was an important story, and it was very serious and intense, but it wasn't funny.
The difference between this and Evita for me is that, well, one, Evita was an operetta, so there was truly no dialogue. Dorothy Dandridge has good comedic timing.
Yeah.
There were funny lines in this for me. That was the only thing I could grasp to be a giggle. I was like, some of the lines were funny.
But I didn't laugh. Something being funny and laughing are two different things.
Oh no, I didn't giggle. I might have gone, ha! In my brain.
Yeah.
I didn't bust out laughing at anything.
Which is not what you're supposed
How
to.
How familiar were you with the original subject matter? How familiar were you with the plot of Carmen?
Vaguely. I had done costumes.
I knew nothing.
I had done costumes for Carmen back when I was in college, on a summer internship or something. At that point I had at least read through the Wikipedia summary, but that was over 10 years ago. So yeah,
I went in totally blind.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was a tragedy,
not knowing anything.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of assumed, but I did actually do a little bit more research beforehand. It's because sometimes I go into these movies not reading any kind of plot synopsis, right. But this one I did read a plot synopsis, and I was just like, ooh, this is gonna be real dramatic and real sad.
It is very dramatic.
But let's get
go through this.
Started.
Yeah.
Okay. This is set in what, Louisiana, in what year?
This is early 1940s, because the U.S. has entered World War II, but it is not.
Yeah, it's World War II.
Yet.
Yeah, it just says set during World War II. It doesn't specify a year.
Yeah, so it's
it's actually in North Carolina. They're set this starts in North Carolina.
It's in between 1942 and 1945, which were the years that the US was involved in the war.
Yeah, I'd say probably towards the end, just because a lot of the first year of joining World War II was like scrambling to be like, fuck, gotta build. And I only know that because I was reading an article about how shoddily and quickly built so many of the buildings were. Like, there was this, I think it was in New Jersey, like this whole manufacturing plant for missiles blew up because it was so poorly made. Yeah. And so they're still finding unexploded bomb and missile parts in Jersey. Parts of New Jersey, like to this day. Oh, well, because it like leveled a town.
Weapon that they lost off the coast of Georgia.
Oh, they lost off the coast. Yeah, I do know about that.
They did eventually find it, but it was like amateur divers.
Oh, they did?
Amateur divers found it.
Oh, God.
Anyway.
So I would say probably like 43, 44, 45.
Yeah.
All right. In North Carolina, a bus arrives at a depot on a dusty road outside of a army base and manufacturing plant. A bunch of people get off, clearly walking into work. They work at the plant.
Yes.
And one girl the camera focuses on is in a pretty pink gingham dress with a hat. She walks in like she owns a place, unlike everyone else who flashes their ID badge, and the guards at the gate are like, whoa, you can't just wander in here.
This is a military installation. You can't just walk in, ma'am.
And she's like, but I'm not here to work.
But I know the one called Joe. And they're like, no.
No. Yeah, she says she's here to see Joe. They won't let her in. She like walks along the fence to where a bunch of kids are standing and watching. I will say, a bunch of kids walk by singing a song that I didn't clock, but it is a reference to a song in the opera. So one thing I want to establish really quickly is something that's really unique, and I've never seen it before, is in this particular operetta, the music is the same as in the opera. Yes. The lyrics have just been modernized.
Which I did like. That was very cool.
All the iconic tempo.
Yeah.
We get that just with modern lyrics.
Yeah.
Anyway, the bunch of the kids walk by singing, which is what is essentially like the opening number of the show.
Of the
she
opera,
sees Joe, with a bunch of army people. He's a corporal, and she calls to him through the fence, and he beams. And I said, oh, hi, Harry Belafonte.
Oh, there he is.
Her name is Cindy Lou, and they talk through the fence. They are clearly enamored of each other. We get a lot of exposition. His name is Joe. He just got into flying school. So she's here to see him off.
Because he's going to leave, like, very soon.
Yeah, he has 24 hours before he leaves. He gets a 24-hour pass. But first, Joe brings her on base so they can, like, go have lunch together in the canteen. Cut to the canteen.
And we meet Carmen Jones.
Rolling up late.
No, this is a parachute factory, just to give us a little bit of context for what they're
like an army base
actually
working
parachute
on. Factory.
She comes in, and all of these men start asking her, like, oh, are you going to let me take you out dancing? Are you going to let me take you out to dinner? And she turns all of them down. At one point, one of the women is just like, can you just, like, say yes to one of them so the rest of them will ask the rest of us?
Yeah.
But she ends up singing Dat Love.
You're not being a very good ally to the girls.
Yeah, I know. She ends up singing a song which basically just sums up that if you're interested in her, she's not interested in you. If someone, like, is standoffish to her, then she's immediately interested in them.
She likes them hard to get.
Yeah, exactly. And because of that, she is, throughout this song, sort of singing around and at Joe, who is the only man there who is not interested in her because he has Cindy Lou.
Yeah, Cindy Lou is literally sitting next to him, and Carmen is just singing, shaking her hips. Carmen's outfit, while amazing, absolutely not up to code.
And not something that you would wear to work. Like,
we're in a factory.
Nah, she looks great.
She looks great, but I was just like, absolutely not. The song ends. She sits down at the table next to Joe, and she kind of leans over her shoulder, and she congratulates him on getting into flying school. She calls him a fly boy. She goes, who knows, maybe I'll be the one that made your parachute. And she says, I want to throw you a going away party tonight. And he was like, hard pass, Cindy. I already have a date. Cindy Lou and I are... Yeah, I already planned. So he rebuffs her.
Yeah. So she throws a rose at him and then walks away.
Yeah. Yeah, because she enters this scene with a rose.
Yeah.
The bell rings, the lunch break is over. Cindy Lou and Joe stay in the canteen, And Cindy like makes a comment being like, that girl's awful pretty and she's giving you a lot of attention. And Joe says, I'm not worried about her, Carmen, because I've already got a girl.
Yeah.
You're the only girl for me, Cindy Lou. And then he sings the song, You're Just Like My Mom.
Hated that entire concept of like, oh, I'm in love with you because you're just like my mother. And I was like, whoa, I'm gonna need some more explanation.
Okay, what I will say is I had the exact same reaction, and then I listened to the lyrics a little more, and I do want to know if that song is similar to, if there's a similar song in the opera,
right,
or if this is something that was written for this context specifically. But at first I was like, absolutely red flag, you're just like my mom.
What?
But then he says, we lived next to each other growing up, just like my mom and my dad did. That's how they fell in love.
Right.
I love you like my mother loves my father.
Or like my father loves.
Still a little weird. Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant.
Yeah, he was like, I love you because you're like my ma and I'm like my pa. So basically, I think what was intended by this was just that he has a really good example of a loving relationship and from his parents, and that is what he feels with her. Surprise, but then this Romeo motherfucker is just like, haha! Anyway.
Oh god, the second the wind shifts.
Truly.
That
but it
song,
ends with him asking Cindy Lou to marry him.
Yeah. I wrote a little note for myself. It's just like, I love Hammerstein instrumentals.
The music? So good.
Here's the thing.
Yes.
This is book and lyrics by Hammerstein.
Yes, it is.
This is not, which is unusual. I'm just so familiar with Rodgers and Hammerstein, which was a combination.
Yeah.
So this is score and lyrics by Hammerstein.
Well, I mean, the thing is that a lot of the score was already written by the opera.
Yes, but the point I made, because I made a little note being like, oh god, I love Hammerstein instrumentals, is there was a nice little thing that took us out of this song that was just ambient instrumentals, and it was so clearly Hammerstein, and I was just like, oh.
Amazing. So
but yes, he asked her to marry him.
He asked her to marry him.
He's
and
like, I don't want to wait for the war to be over.
Yeah, and he's like, I got 24 hours. Like, do you want to have a marriage and a honeymoon in 24 hours? And she's like, my parents will be mad, but yes.
Yeah.
There's also a little bit of that whole thing with Carmen. At one point, Cindy Lou is like, I know what they say. If you have a girl that's like in a different town, you don't have a girl at all. So I think because
Cindy Lou does not live close enough to the base. She took the bus. Whereas Carmen clearly is spending a lot of time around.
So I think part of this is also that Cindy Lou is a bit worried about Carmen.
Yeah, and she should be.
Rightfully so, Cindy Lou. Cindy Lou is the waiter of this entire movie.
She just means so well.
She means well.
Joe's like, Jim's like, cool, you'll marry me? Great. I'm going to go ask my CEO, my chief officer. Yeah. For
Sergeant Brown is his CO. So
yeah, to like get permission,
or just
or
like
to go to him to marry them,
to like be, because he has a 24-hour pass to like not do things, but I think he needs a pass to like go off base. So maybe it's that. I don't know. Anyway, he needs to go ask permission for something because army times.
Yeah.
Then we hear a massive kerfuffle. I'm so glad you used that word. And we cut to the actual like factory floor of the parachute factory, and someone and Carmen are just going at it. Like full fight, up and down, on things, like grabbing something behind you and hitting them in the head with it. It was wild.
I think it is the same girl that made a quick comment when we first met Carmen of being like, Carmen, you're late again.
Probably.
Because they're fighting because this girl has reported Carmen to like their manager and like snitched on her essentially, being like, Carmen was late and was trying to get away with it. And so they are going at it.
Yeah.
The fight culminates. There are parachutes like hanging from the ceiling. The girl comes at Carmen with scissors or something, but Carmen takes other scissors and like severs the parachute, essentially dropping the parachute onto the other girl, immobilizing her. Right then, a bunch of officers come in. They're like, who started this? And Carmen is just like, me! super proud.
And confident.
Yeah.
Now, the person who comes in is Sergeant Brown
and then it gets worse.
Corporal Joe. And because she has one like fight, she's always late, and she's damaged government property by cutting the strings of this parachute that they're making. She is now going to be arrested, and but because
she's a prisoner now,
she's on a military base, they have to take her to like the civilian jailhouse, which is in the next town over, which is like 50
because they can't arrest
away.
Civilians on a military base.
Right.
Yes. And Brown takes one look at Joe and is just like, all right, you don't get your pass anymore.
Yeah, it's revoked.
Yeah, you have to take this prisoner to Masonville, to the civilian jail.
Yeah, Sergeant Brown very obviously is not a huge fan of Joe. And it's not really explained why, but he's just a
bad dude.
He's just a bad dude.
They just made him a bad dude.
And it does feel personal. It's not like, oh, there's no one else who can do this. You need to do this because everyone else is doing something else. He's like, no.
Yeah, he's intentionally
vindictive towards Joe. So Joe tries to be like, but I had a pass, and Sergeant Brown is like, haha, had is in past tense. And he has to immediately, like, he asks to, like, hey, can I have, like, 5 minutes just to, like, do something personal? Because he wants to go and tell Cindy Lou what happened.
He needs to tell Cindy Lou what's up.
Because she's still there. He's, like, hard no, and, like, shoves them both into a military jeep and, like, shoves them out. And Cindy Lou comes out because after a while Joe hasn't come back.
Joe didn't come back.
She comes out of the canteen to see Joe driving away with Carmen in a jeep without having spoken to her. And at that point, Sergeant Brown comes over to Cindy Lou and is just like, hey, he's no good for you. Like, he's not a real man.
Yeah, he volunteered to take Carmen to jail.
He wanted to take
He can't be trusted.
I know. And Cindy Lou is like, don't touch me.
Yeah, I also don't believe you. That's not who Joe is.
So then we cut to this whole car ride.
Oh my god, okay.
Do you want to talk about this car
Carmen,
ride? Carmen
sits in the passenger seat with Joe and just, talking about violation of boundaries. Yeah. Carmen is all up on Joe, flirting with him, touching him. Joe is laser focused on the road on his test. He wants to get to Masonville as fast as possible so that he can then turn around and go back to Cindy Lou.
Yes.
Carmen's like, you don't have to take me to jail. We could go to, like, this hookup place that I know. And she sings a song. There's a cafe on the corner. And she is so all over him, and he is rebuffing her constantly. Yeah. And she just thinks it's funny.
Yeah. But she does also at one point say, like, are you actually going to take me to jail? And he's like, hard yes. She's like, oh, no. Yeah. I don't do well being cooped up. And so at one point, they stop
at a train tracks.
At the train tracks because there's a train crossing. And the minute that Joe takes his eyes off of her to look, like, off to the other side, she dips out of this car because, again, it's like an open military jeep. Jumps on the train. Joe realizes what happens. There's, like, a chase on a moving train, which I did not expect.
It was awesome. Can't do that on stage. And, like, if she eventually hops off on the other side, he hops off after her. And then, of course, he catches her because she's in, like, a pencil skirt and heels. And he's, like, a full-ass military person. And so he, like, tackles her and, like, ends up tying her legs together with his belt and, like, fireman carries her back to the fucking car. All of that happens. They drive a little more and they come to a fork in the road. Very, like, one sign's like, Masonville, 50 miles that way. Masonville, shortcut, 30 miles. This road is not accessible by car. Yeah. And Joe's like, there's nothing this military vehicle can't do. And Carmen clearly knows what's about to happen. She's like, okay.
She's like, I really don't recommend it.
Immediately, they get stuck because they drive over a small bridge and it collapses and the vehicle and the Jeep gets stuck in the water. Yeah. Joe can't get them out. And then I became a little unclear as to what happens, but I think Carmen's like, look, that car's not going anywhere. Yeah. I live, like, my town is not super far from here, and there's a train that goes through it that takes you to Masonville.
Yes.
So if you are so determined to get me to Masonville, what I suggested we walk the 5 minutes down the road to my town. Yeah. And we'll hop the train to Masonville. And he's like, cool, great. They walk to her town. She knows everyone. She's like,
everyone really likes
with
her.
vendors.
They're giving her vegetables. Yeah. Like, she's like, oh,
yeah. And Joe's like, what are you doing? Like, we have to make this train. She's like, oh, the train's not till 10 p.m. Yeah. And it's probably like 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah. So,
but, like, Joe is out of options.
Yeah. There's nothing else to do. So she just gets a lot of stuff and they head to her grandmother's house. Mm-hmm. And then we get, like, sort of the first hint that Carmen is actually quite superstitious. Mm-hmm. And her grandmother is like, the second before you walked in the door, I found this buzzard's feather. That is bad luck. And Carmen,
it's a bad omen.
It's a bad omen. And her grandma just leaves. And then, and Carmen's like,
she's like, bad vibes.
Bad all around. Just none of it. And Carmen is kind of shaken by this and fully believes in sort of superstition and omens and all of that. And
Joe kind of mocks her for it.
He does. And then she starts getting stuff together to, like, make food. She's like, we have
like a roast
6
chicken.
hours.
Yeah.
Let me just put something together. And chatting with him a little bit, asking him about flight school, asking him about Cindy Lou. And then she starts getting a lot more physical with him, brushing dust off of his pant legs. And she's like, oh, you don't know how to do that. And, like, grabs the brush and sits in between his legs to, like, brush that off and clean his shoes.
Polishes
and, like,
his shoes.
Yeah. And just being as touchy and as close to him as possible. It gets to the point where it's, oh, your belt is twisted, so she goes to undo his belt, and they just full make out. And I'm like, wow, that happened so fast.
Yeah, he succumbs to Carmen's advances.
Yeah.
He asks her a little about herself as well before they start
true.
making out.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you going to do after the war is over?
Get married, have kids.
Yeah, and she's like, absolutely not.
Hard
That's
pass.
not in the cards for me. Hard pass, hard pass. Anyway, they make out, and one thing led to another, and ...
Yeah.
Hours pass.
Yeah.
Clearly, Joe fell asleep. He wakes up, he looks for Carmen, and she has gone. She has bailed. She's left him a note, being like, I would rather die than be in jail, but I love you.
Yeah, I'm definitely in love with you, but also jail is a hard no for me, so I'm out. Sorry. I hope you're okay.
Yeah, hope this doesn't
Ruin
make anything
things
bad for you.
Cut
And then
to him in
does.
military jail.
Military prison. Yeah, he got fully demoted to private, in prison for 2 weeks for allowing his prisoner to escape.
Yeah.
Cindy Lou has been trying to visit him and just hasn't been able to until 2 weeks in.
I know.
But she goes to visit him, and she's on the edge of tears, but she's so happy to see him. And he's like, listen, I don't know when I'm even going to get out of here or if they'll even let me go to air school.
Yeah.
She's like, it's okay.
I'll
wait for you. A package arrives for Joe, and Cindy Lou goes to open it to me. She's like, I told my mom to bake you something. This is going to be from her. She opens it up, takes one look inside, looks at Joe, and bails.
Gone.
Doesn't say anything. Joe looks into the box, and it is a letter and a rose from Carmen that he quickly, like, stuffs in his pockets because the sergeant is just like, all right, visiting times are over. Yeah. Later, the prisoners are working by a river,
clearing
like,
a roadway,
like they're laying railroad tracks or something.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
They break for lunch, and instead of eating, Joe steps aside from everyone, pulls out of his pocket that note, and inside he's pressed the rose that Carmen left for him. And he reads the note, and he sings this flower, which is Flower Song from the opera. Yes. And he's kept this rose close to him ever since he got it. He's like clearly so fallen in love with her. Now. His world is dark without her, etc. Yeah.
So then we cut to Louisiana. Now, I'm assuming, we don't get the full read of this note, but I'm assuming in this note, Carmen is like, I can't do jail. I've skipped the state. I will be here waiting for you.
Yeah, because how else would he know later to go there? And I just looked up, I was just like, how far is North Carolina from Louisiana? It's like 13 hours.
Yeah, it's a ways.
Far.
By, like,
it's not
modern
like
roadways and cars. Like,
yeah. Like a multi-day bus.
Yeah. We get her showing up at this club, and she's been there every night. She asks the woman at the front desk, has there been anyone asking for me? And she's like, yeah, a bunch of people ask after you, but no one named Joe.
Well, no, she's not exactly in hiding. I thought that was unusual. It comes out later, like, she got her sentence reduced or whatever. Like, she's not on the run.
No.
But we meet her friend, Frankie, at the bar.
And we get this fun song, beat out that rhythm on a drum.
Which is Gypsy Song from
Carmen.
The opera.
Yes. And it's fun, and it basically is just that this bar is a great time. This bar's a good time, and the band there is awesome.
This is kind of our only dancing in the show.
And it is wild dancing. People are throwing themselves around, but it's the only time we get it, and it's just like, okay. I would have liked more dancing.
Listen, there's not a lot of opera in. Actually, there's not a lot of dancing in opera.
Yeah, there's also not a lot of opera and dancing.
Fuck off.
That Venn diagram is a very thin crossover.
It is. But Frankie gets everyone up and dancing. She sings this song. She gets to, like, play the drums at one point. Yeah. It's a good time.
It's a good time. At the end of this song, there's a huge to-do outside.
Oh, really quickly, Frankie goes up to Carmen at the end of the song, and she's like, how are you? Carmen's like, fine. And Frankie's like, you're not still hung up on that Joe guy, are you? And Carmen's like, yeah. And then there's a big kerfuffle noise, brouhaha outside. Yeah. Everyone goes outside to go see, and someone shouts, it's Husky Miller. Yeah. Carmen does not go outside. She instead stands on a balcony.
Of course.
and looks out. Of course. Now we meet Husky Miller. Husky Miller is a
champion boxer.
He's a contender for the heavyweight boxing champion of the world. He's a celebrity.
Yes.
And he arrives and immediately sings the song Stand Up and Fight, which is the one of the most famous songs, Toreador song from Carmen. Carmen is unimpressed. Husky clocks her on that balcony, though, and he's like,
just like, that one.
Similar to how Carmen doesn't want men who are
interested in her,
who are just in her. She does not look impressed at Husky. He's like, that's the one for me.
That's the one for me. So,
and she's wearing an amazing pink dress.
God, pink is such her color. So he finishes the song to this adoring crowd and goes over and eventually...
I'm trying to think of what's a comparable song. All I can think of is, does Zac Efron sing anything in Hairspray that's kind of like this? Where he's like, I'm cool. It is. It's very much a... Oh, God, what's that song from All Shook Up?
I was just thinking of... God, I think it's from Something Happened on the Way to the Forum. The general song.
Roused About from All Shook Up is what I'm thinking of.
Oh, hold on. I gotta look up this song.
I've never seen Funny Thing on the Way to the Forum. I don't know what it's about. But if we have any All Shook Up fans on the podcast, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say this song has the same energy as Roused About.
Bring Me My Bride. That's what it is. Where he's just like, I am incredible, and I am awesome, and someone needs to bring me this lady.
Oh, it's like C'est Moi.
It's that, but like without the temper of like moral justification of like, I am amazing because I am morally superior. This one's just like, I'm a bomb-ass general, bring me my bride.
yeah, that's true. That's more similar to this one where he's like, I'm the best at what I do.
I'm a super great fighter. Give me that one.
Okay. Husky Miller then comes in with his entourage. He has a manager named Rum Daniels, who has his own manager named Dink, and goes right up to Carmen. He's like, you, me, this is it. Yeah. And Carmen has the great line where she's just not interested. Yeah. She goes, excuse my dust. Loved it. And then when Husky doesn't take the hint, she goes, the air's getting unconditioned around here, so I'm gonna go.
Similar energy of, I think I left something at home.
Yes, exactly. I think I left something at home. So it was lines like that they were just delivered so well by Dorothy Dandridge. Yeah. I was just like, that's funny. Good, that's funny. Good. And you don't get that in opera because it's all sung. Yeah. So we didn't get that in Evita.
True.
Anyway.
Husky leaves because he's agreed that he needs to like actually get some sleep because they're going on a train
10 hours of sleep
to Chicago like that next day, and he tells Rum Daniels, get her on that or you're fired.
Yeah.
So just then Frankie and Mert, who's another like two girls that have worked with or are friends with Carmen, like clock the two managers as like, haha, rich, got it. And so they go over and they're like, hey, we're friends with Carmen. Do you want to, like, hang out with us? And then maybe she'll hang out with your client? And they're like, yes, in fact, we can promise you a whole bunch of things of, like, jewelry and furs.
Furs.
Hotel suites.
Nice hotels.
And
yeah.
Once they say all that to Frankie and Mert are like, cool, let me go and chat with Carmen. And so they go over to Carmen to basically try to convince her to come with them to Chicago and to, like, be with Husky.
Rum does tell Frankie that he's like, listen, I can offer you, like, diamonds and furs, but no one gets anything if Carmen doesn't come with us. Yes. And we get this cute little quartet of Frankie, Mert, Rum, and Dink singing the song Whizzin' Away Along the Track. Yes. Which is, I think, again, like there's a quintet in Carmen. And Carmen does join in the end. And it's just, what's like a comparable song? It had such fun energy because it's really quick wordplay.
Like really tight harmonies.
Yeah, it was fun. I liked it.
It was really fun. And it's sort of like, Carmen at first is like, no, I'm in love with Joe. I'm not interested. And then like, oh, I don't know, maybe like she's starting to get interested in the things that she's been there, like, but eventually she fully turns it down. She's like, you know what, no, I've waited a month for Joe and I'm gonna continue waiting. And Rum, like,
and they laugh at her, they're like, you're crazy.
You're insane. Rum pulls out 2 tickets to Chicago and is like, in case you change your mind, here are tickets on the train, please be there.
Does he give her 2 tickets, or does he give her a ticket to a suite?
I don't know.
Like 1 ticket.
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
So they leave her, and she is about to like leave the bar and sees Joe walking in.
Strolling up. He walked from North Carolina.
Honestly, and then Sergeant Brown shows up later, and I'm like, what are all of these North Carolina boys doing in Louisiana? That is not close.
I don't know. Maybe this isn't in Louisiana.
This absolutely
Maybe
is. It says so.
Absolutely. Okay. I was confused because she hitches a ride there, and the guy's like, I'll take you to New Orleans. And she's like, no. Anyway, Joe walks up to the club. They embrace. They have a big kiss. She tells him that she got a suspended sentence, so she's not on the run.
Yeah.
They go inside and they dance. She tells him she's been waiting for him for over a month. Yeah. She's like, I can't wait for you to stay. Maybe we can go to Chicago. And he's like, I can't stay and I can't go. They're letting me still go to flying school.
Yeah.
And so I have to immediately turn around and go back, but I had to come see you. And she gets
pissed.
Upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be 400 miles away. And he's like, you can visit me when I have a pass. She goes, I
on a pass?
Carmen does not do love on a pass. She does speak in third person a bit
here, where I was just like,
Yeah. And Joe, he's like, look, I saved this rose. Like, I do love you. I'm super serious, but like, I can't go AWOL again.
No. I love that he doesn't call it AWOL though. He calls it AWOL, and I was like,
AWOL. And she's just like, I waited for you for a month, but you won't step out of line again for me. And then Sergeant Brown shows up and like comes out onto the balcony with them, and Carmen like makes to leave with Sergeant Brown.
And Sergeant Brown also like physically like messes with Joe. He's like pulling at his uniform and like saying, oh, he's such a slob.
He untucks his shirt.
You don't want to be with this guy. He can't even keep his shirt tucked in. And Joe almost steps to him, and Sergeant Brown is like, you wouldn't hit an officer, would you? That would mean like
your superior
years
officer
in jail. And just then Carmen decides to go inside with Sergeant Brown because she's so pissed at Joe for not choosing her. And Joe does a big manly sees red and is like, don't touch her, and ends up beating the shit out of Sergeant Brown.
Yeah, this is the first we see of Joe's temper and his possessiveness.
Yes.
And he beats the shit out of Brown.
Like,
Brown gets a few punches in. Yeah, he knocks him out. They panic. They hide his body in the bushes. And they flee to Chicago.
Yeah, they get on a train, run to Chicago.
They take that ticket. Yeah, that's why I was like, I think Rum gave her a suite because he didn't give her 2 tickets.
I know that. I was like, but they're both there, so maybe he gave her 2. Like, anyway,
they fully flee after committing a crime.
Cut to
They arrive in Chicago.
And we see like Husky is on the same train, but obviously she didn't travel with him. Like, they're in a different car. But Husky's getting off. There's huge crowds, but he does clock Carmen walking by, like, briefly at this train station. So he knows that she's in Chicago somewhere. So then we cut to this tiny room right by the L. So there's like shaking while the subway passes. And Carmen is getting dressed to...
It's like a shitty little apartment.
It's a shitty apartment. They got no money. And Joe can't leave the apartment because the military police are looking for him. I wonder if he actually killed Sergeant Brown, because that's the only reason I can think why they would, like, go across state lines to, like, find this guy. Otherwise, if you just beat him and then run away, it's just like, all right, well, if he ever shows up again, we'll arrest him. But, like, murdering an officer is, like, the only reason I can think why they would, like, go from Louisiana to Chicago.
I wonder if he kills him in the... there are a lot of differences between the original opera and this.
Yes.
Including, like, Joe's profession. I wonder if he kills him in the opera.
Or kills, like, someone, I'm not sure.
That would explain why he's on the run. I meant to look it up and then I didn't.
Yep. Anyway... Joe can't leave his apartment, basically.
And so he doesn't want Carmen to leave either. And she's like, I do what I want. Like,
and also, we need food. Like,
we need food. But they don't have any more money. So Carmen's like, I got stuff that jingles. I'll sell some jewelry. Yeah. Carmen leaves the apartment, walks to a pawn shop, but then doesn't go in. She, like, looks in the window, considering it. But instead she goes a couple doors down to a boxing gym that is advertised as, like, this is where Husky Miller offers trainings.
Yes.
So she goes up the stairs to the boxing gym, and she runs right into Rum and Frankie, who is all dolled up. She's got the diamonds. She's got the fur. Frankie is so excited to see Carmen. I don't know how many days have passed. Probably like maybe like 1 or 2.
Must have been.
They didn't have a lot of money on them when they ran.
Yeah.
And Frankie's like, oh, I'm so glad to see you. Like, Husky's going to be so happy to see you as well. And Carmen's like, nah. Can you loan me some money?
Yeah.
I don't have anything. And Frankie's like, everything I own, Husky paid for.
Yes.
I have no cash of my own. So if you want money, you need to ask Husky.
Yes.
And additionally, you need to talk to Husky now because we've lived lavishly a couple days, me, Rum, and Dink. However,
it must have been like
Husky
a
has
week.
stopped. Yeah, Husky stopped paying for everything because you still haven't shown up. So he's cut all of us off. So you need to do your girl a favor and go talk to Husky. You don't have to fall in love with him, but like he's holding out on us.
Yeah.
So Frankie brings Carmen into Husky's dressing room. Husky saw Carmen and he gets out of the ring and he like goes to go up to her, but his trainer's like, no. Get your mind
off of
back
this
above your
back to
waistline. And so Carmen follows into the dressing room.
Yes.
Where Husky's getting like a physical therapy massage.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, ridiculous. And Husky thinks that she is there to be with him, but eventually, like, she keeps saying no. And so she ends up leaving again and just being like, I'm just going to go to that pawn shop then if you can't help me. And Husky
I refuse to double time Joe.
I'm not going to do that. And Frankie is just like, listen, you can have a man to love and have a man to give you money. Like, that is fine. And Carmen's like, no, I love Joe. I'm not going to do that to him.
Okay. This is a gripe. She's like, I'm not a two-timer. But that's literally the position she put Joe in.
Yeah.
Like, she made Joe cheat on Cindy Lou with her. And then
there is no good characters. Like, there's no, morally redeemable character, really, except Cindy Lou. And even then, I'm just like, girl, you gotta stand up for yourself
Raise
a little
your
bit.
standards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Carmen leaves the boxing gym. She pawns some jewelry and she returns to their shitty little apartment with groceries, and she's also gotten herself a couple new dresses. Yeah. And Joe's like, whoa, you didn't have that much money on you when you left. How did you pay for these? Implying that she might have come by them by less than savory means. Yeah, and she's like, fuck off.
And she's like, I can spend my money on whatever it is that I want to spend my money on.
Yeah, you're the one that got us in this situation.
Yeah. And she ends up putting on the new dress to go out to see Frankie because at one point during this argument, Joe like grabs her and shakes her. And she pushes him off.
Yeah, he gets rough with her.
And it's the first time that I think he's gotten physical with her, where his anger and his jealousy and paranoia really comes out in a physical response on her.
Yeah.
And so she's like, don't like that at all. And so she puts on her new dress and like her nice seamed stockings and like shoes and everything. He's like, where are you going? And she's like, I'm going to see my friend Frankie. It's none of your business. Also, I do what I want and you're not cooping me up. I'm going to live my life.
Yeah. And Joe says, Frankie, I know, hangs out with Husky Miller. I'm not going to let you leave. And Carmen's like, no man gets to tell me when I can come and go. Yeah. She leaves dressed in her new clothes and spends time with her friends. Rum is so happy to be like, hey, Husky, guess who's here? It's Carmen. It's Heat Wave, as Husky has been calling her. And Husky is so happy to see her. And she's like,
don't touch me.
Great. I'm going to hang out with my girls.
See Frankie.
Yeah.
And Frankie is doing it's not a tarot reading, but she has a deck of cards and she's like reading fortunes. And she starts to sing.
They sing the card song. Yeah, sorry. I thought you weren't going to say that.
And then it's all like going well and it's all very silly until she turns to Carmen and has her draw a card and she draws the 9 of spades, which I know very little about.
I looked this up
through cards. Do you?
I looked this up because I was just like, is this something they invented for this, or is it actually based in fact? And it is based in fact, and that the 9 of spades can symbolize. It has been interpreted to symbolize not always like death, but like it can mean like
change.
An end of a chapter in your life, like a big change, a death of
an idea or a death
of a way of an idea. Yeah, a big change. Carmen specifically takes it as a premonition of like, she's gonna die soon. She pours herself a drink and she sings the card song and she's like, I'm going to live exactly how I want to live. No one gets to tell me otherwise. And then she makes out with Husky.
Cut to
Cut to
Cindy
Cindy
Lou
Lou.
arriving in Chicago. Sweet pea. This man ain't worth it. So she is looking.
No, this man ain't worth crossing state lines for.
She's there looking for Joe, and we have the song "My Joe." During this, we
don't see her
No,
sing. We
it's
just hear it in her head, which I
is an
thought was
interesting choice.
interesting. Yeah.
We also see Joe leave his apartment for the first time, and we see military police in his building asking the landlady if...
Yeah, I bet he killed
I think he
Sergeant
did.
Brown. They don't say it explicitly, but...
That's the only thing that
I bet
makes
he did.
sense.
Yeah.
We cut back to Cindy, so we see him, like, sort of evade the police and get out. Cindy Lou arrives at Husky's gym, and someone's like, oh, Husky's finished training. She's like, I'm actually here to see Carmen. Is she here? I've heard that she's hanging around with him. And they let her in, and she goes to see Carmen, and she's like, you're the only one who knows where Joe is. I just need to see him and talk to him.
Cindy Lou knew where to find Carmen because the newspapers have publicly linked her to Husky. So she was like,
so it must
Joe
have been
left
like
with
a
Carmen.
day or two.
I don't know where they've been. I think it's been probably like more than a day or two because Carmen's got like a brand new dress, is clearly shacked up with Husky, has not looked back, probably never went back to that apartment. No. And so Cindy Lou's like, I don't know where Joe is, but Carmen's going to know, and I know where to find Carmen. Cindy Lou says, I just want to find Joe before the military does, because the military is looking for him. Joe also, at that point, arrives at the gym, knowing that if he hasn't read the newspapers, he knows that Carmen's probably at where Husky Miller is, because she was going to see Frankie. And Joe peers through the window of, like, the dressing room office or whatever, and sees Husky. Joe then bursts into Husky's dressing room and sees Carmen kissing Husky, and is also like, Cindy Lou, what the fuck are you doing here?
And Cindy Lou is like, oh, Joe, and he fully ignores her. It's devastating, honestly.
Yeah, it's really sad. Carmen tells Joe to leave and leave with Cindy Lou. She doesn't want to be with him anymore. That chapter has closed. And Joe tells Carmen, he's like, no, you're coming with me. Joe and Husky fully fight. Bad decision.
Bad choice on Joe's part.
Fight a boxer.
Yeah, Husky
fight
beats
a professional
the shit
boxer.
out of him.
Yeah, and Joe even brought a knife to this fight, and Husky beats the shit out of Joe.
Never bring a knife to any fight. It always ends bad. Even if
Particularly
you're the
with a
one with the
professional
knife,
boxer.
if you are fighting a professional fighter, they're gonna take that knife from you. It's gonna be bad.
Yeah. Just when the military police arrive, Carmen sees them coming up the stairs.
And she, like, pushes
and so
Joe out the back door, and he's like, oh, you must love me. She's like, no, I just don't like people in jail. Like, I just don't like that concept.
Yeah. She, like, stalls the military police for a second, but they do follow the door out where Joe went. Carmen then tells Cindy Lou, you gotta
let this guy go.
He's not worth it. Find someone worthy of you.
Find a fish you can catch, I think she said.
Oh no, what is it? I wrote it down. It goes, bait your hook with a fish you can fry.
That's it. Yeah. It was wild.
And like nothing about this film passes the Bechdel test. However, I did like that. I wanted more of a moment like that. Girls looking out for each other.
Because Carmen is not a girl's girl. Yeah.
No, she's not a girl's girl. At first, Cindy Lou just like picks herself up. She takes her suitcase. She leaves the dressing room, and I was like, "Is this the last we see of Cindy Lou?"
And then she gets
she gets her
song. I really loved this song.
Yeah, the song is called "He's Got Himself Another Woman." Oh, why'd you like it?
I just like it's. I love when the 11 o'clock number of a song of a show is not by the main character. I think that's always such a fun choice. So, like with Hairspray, having the 11 o'clock number be Maybelle.
Yeah.
And so it's just always such a fun choice when like the big soulful ballad of like a character discovering something or like standing their ground or like just that final emotional note before we get into the final eddy of the ending. I love it when it's not the main character because it just rounds out the world in such a beautiful way so that it's not just a main character. The main character is living within a fully fleshed out reality. So I loved this song, and I thought she sang it incredibly well. I thought she acted it well. It was. I just had no notes for that whole thing, and it was all pretty much one take, if I'm remembering.
Yeah, it was all one take. Because I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, this is. She like goes out into the hallway and then starts to sing the song, And I remember making a comment like, wow, this is really static compared to the other songs. Like, the first time we meet Carmen, she is like running around that cafeteria. But no, this is just Cindy Lou in a hallway alone, and I think it's all one shot.
Which also felt very correct to her character. I mean, Carmen is a girl who doesn't like to be pinned down, so it makes sense that she's just running around, taking up space.
She's moving.
But Cindy Lou felt like a very steady person, and so
she just picked the wrong guy.
Yeah, I just really liked this song.
Anyway, cut to a boxing ring. Husky's big fight in Chicago. It's the day of the show, y'all. He enters the stadium, and the girls, Carmen and Mert and Frankie, all follow, dressed to the nines as his entourage,
Carmen's
with rum
with, like,
and
fur,
dink.
like,
Carmen looks great, and they all got furs and diamond necklaces. The other fighter is named Kid Poncho. He arrives. We see Joe arriving at the Kid Poncho. Joe arrives at the stadium, kind of last minute, looking over his shoulder. He buys a ticket, and then he sneaks inside and hides as military police kind of walk around. So they're still looking for him. We watch the match. Husky doesn't do great in the first round, but he comes back to beat Kid Poncho in the second. And we see Joe sneak into the not sneak, he has a ticket, but like walking into the stadium and getting a seat just a couple rows behind Carmen. And after Husky starts to win the match, like starts to overtake his opponent, Carmen is cheering him on and like giving him his full support. Joe leaves.
He sort of waits around the corner, so Husky wins, and Carmen goes and gives him a big kiss, and then he's lifted up on people's shoulders. He's carried out of the arena, and Carmen's following behind with like a huge group. Now they're all coming down these stairs, and Joe's hiding off behind a wall, kind of off to the side,
like around the corner.
And as soon as he sees Carmen pass, he walks up, grabs her arm, and pulls her into a janitor's closet. With all of this commotion going on, no one notices that she's been taken.
No one clocks it. And he says, "You're going with me, or you're not going anywhere."
And she's like, "Fine, kill me."
He begs her to return to him. And he's like, "I should have killed you."
This is like the final
and
duet.
We get...
This is like a lot of this is sung.
Yeah. One lyric that just... It's a tragedy. It broke my heart a little bit, where I said, "All I want to do is love you like I used to." Joe sings. And Carmen, it's not that she taunts him, but if she's perceiving him as a threat, she's not letting him know that she's scared of him. She takes the 10-cent ring that he gave her and throws it at him, just like "We are over, we are done. Stop fighting for me."
And he sees red, and his anger and his possession.
If I can't have you, no one can.
That's what this is. And he says, like, if I can't have you, then I'm going to kill you. And she's like, fucking do it. And
I dare you. She doesn't actually say I do.
But like
he does. He strangles her.
He grabs her and strangles her. My biggest gripe.
Yeah. Oh, how easily she
dies so fast, y'all. It takes so long to actually strangle someone to death, and you have to strangle them past the point when they are passed out for them to actually die.
Yeah.
Strangulation is not an easy form
Grace
of
knows
death.
this because she does fight choreography. Grace has not strangled anyone.
Murdered people, I promise.
I just had to go on the record and explain why you know that.
But also, the other gripe has to do with that. With how quickly she dies, there is no time for the audience to process this incredible betrayal and death before he's immediately arrested. Like, it all happens within, 30 seconds of, death, arrest, movies end. And you're like, whoa.
Death, regret song, arrest,
movies end is all 45 seconds. It's so fast.
They were like, we gotta wrap
it up. And I'm like, could we have added 2 more minutes to this movie just to at least allow that moment to breathe, let the regret actually sink in, let the red go from his eyes. And it was just so fast, and the curtain fell so quickly that I'm like, what? So that's my biggest gripe, was that I felt like this big emotional climax end of this movie wasn't given the time it needed to have the biggest impact it possibly could.
Yeah. So Joe strangles Carmen. She dies in his arms. He sings the song "String Me High on the Tree." It's about 2 lines. At the end of his strangling her, a janitor has walked into the closet, seen this, gone and gotten the military police so that when he is finishing his 2 lines of String Me High on the Tree, they are already behind him. Yes. And he gets up and they escort him away, and that's how it ends. They escort him out of the arena, and that's how it fucking ends.
They leave her in the closet.
They leave her in the closet! I just looked it up, and Husky Miller's character in the opera is a bullfighter. Yes. So boxer feels very on brand. Okay. Wow. We did that plot in under an hour. We did. And listen, there's a lot of plot. Oh.
Anna?
Yeah?
What'd you think of this movie?
I liked it. I didn't love it. It didn't knock my socks off, but I could appreciate it for what it was. I have a fun fact about the cinematography that I really loved, like an aspect of it, as well as this is my first. I'm not a big opera fan. It's not typically my cup of tea. I don't mind operettas. I'm just not cultured enough for operas yet. So I found it was very palatable, a very palatable version in that, like, I got dialogue. It's a similar plot.
You understood what was happening.
I understood what was happening. I loved that the melodies were the same, but the lyrics were contemporary. Yes. I loved that. I've never experienced that anywhere else.
Yeah, I thought that was brilliant, and it really did make this story, which is a very popular story now. I mean, Carmen is probably one of the more popular operas of all time.
I had heard of Carmen,
and the
but
thing
I just never seen it.
Even if you've never seen Carmen, if someone starts humming the melodies, dun, 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 yeah, everyone's just like, oh, I've heard that. So it was nice to add the music that I know just culturally into context.
Yes.
Agreed. I agree. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I'm a sucker for Dancing in the Streets, and this is not Dancing in the Streets energy. So that's okay. That is A-okay. Not everything has to be Hairspray.
But what if it was? Let's dive into some dramaturgy. Dive
into
in that
a river
of
into some dramaturgy.
Of dramaturgy. The river of dramaturgy. I'm not drinking anything right now. You're having a little coffee.
I have coffee because, ma'am, it is 10 in the morning. Cool.
Shall we do a little dramaturgy report?
Yes.
Dramaturgy report. Dramaturgy report. Okay, so I actually have a lot on this director because he was really, really fascinating. And a little bit of what I'm going to talk about actually covers a bit of production, so I apologize if this is going to be duplicate with anything you say.
There might be some crossover, yeah.
Okay. The director of this was Otto Ludwig Preminger, who is an Austrian-American theater and film director, film producer, and actor. He fully did stuff in the theater before leaving to direct films. He had a 5-decade-long career in which he directed 33 feature films. He got his start in film noir in the 1940s and then transitioning into more high-profile adaptations of novels as well as stage works like Carmen in the 50s and 60s. He was known for definitely pushing censorship with the Hays Code, which was not called the Hays Code anymore. Nope. It's called something else I'm going to reference in a minute. But he definitely had no fear with tackling quote-unquote taboo topics in Hollywood, such as depictions of drug addiction, depictions of homosexuality. He was twice nominated for an Academy Award. He never won. He also acted a little bit. So, I realize that because he helped adapt this to film, this is where the overlap comes in. But so he saw the Broadway production of Carmen Jones. He thought it was bad. He called it a series of skits loosely based on the opera with a simplified score, and the score had been changed so that performers with no operatic training could sing it. He said, "That's bad. I can do it better."
Yes.
He adapted it for the screen, and his goal was to make a dramatic film with music versus a conventional film musical.
Which makes sense.
Yes. He also decided to return to the original source material, which was the novella that the opera is based on.
Yes.
He hired Harry Kleiner to help expand the story beyond the limitations of the Broadway production and the original opera. Mm-hmm. He also, I think this is so cool, he was like, no major Hollywood studio is going to back an operatic film with an all-black cast, so fuck it, I'm going to produce this. Yeah. I'm going to foot the bill for this. He finished his last film, which was River of No Return. He then went to 20th Century Fox, and he was like, cancel the rest of my contract. I will pay you $150,000 to buy myself out. Yeah, and then Fox was like, Uno reverse. What if we offer to finance Carmen Jones, but we will allow you... Sorry, did you...
I just remembered you can't Uno reverse the ocean. I'm so sorry.
Wait, what's that from?
What is from A Star is Born when the ocean just was going in the wrong direction.
I was so mad about that. I'm still so mad about it.
I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Can't.
Oh boy, that just hit me like a bag of bricks. You can't Uno reverse the ocean.
The ocean. Anyway.
So sorry.
20th Century Fox was like, 20th Century Fox surprised Preminger by being like, actually, you know what? We will pay for this film and we will allow you to direct it fully independent of 20th Century Fox, not as a contracted film director. So they had a lot of confidence in him.
Yes.
He has previously worked with a cinematographer, so I'm going to get into that. Here's where the Hays Code comes in, which I think is so interesting. So literally 6 weeks before principal photography was scheduled to begin, Preminger was contacted by the guy who was running the Motion Picture Production Code, which is the Hays Code under
new management.
Better branding.
Yeah.
And Preminger was like, shit, because this man named Joseph Breen, he had previously butted heads with Preminger over Preminger's film The Moon is Blue, and I think The Moon is Blue was actually released cinematically without the Hays Code's approval, and then it was a big fucking hit.
Yeah.
So they did not get approval, and they still made a lot of money, Breen was still salty about it. Breen was up in arms over Carmen. He thought the screenplay lacked any voice of morality. It doesn't condemn Carmen's complete lack of morals. And so Preminger was like, fine, I'll make some minor adjustments. And he even went so far as to film 2 versions of particularly lustful scenes, as Breen calls them. And Breen was still like, no, both of these are too hot. And Preminger said, you know what, fuck you. And he included the saucier version in the film. Iconic.
Amazing.
So I thought that was so funny. So to jump back to the cinematographer, Samuel Levitt, who I mentioned, he was an American cinematographer who was nominated for 3 Academy Awards. He won for The Defiant Ones in 1958. We just saw him, well, not just, but to once again Uno reverse the ocean. We saw him because he was a cinematographer for A Star is Born.
Stop! Amazing.
He is the one that said, I'm going to Uno reverse the ocean. The one and only. And he would later work a lot with Preminger on, amongst other things, the films I referenced earlier that were dealing with taboo subject matters in Hollywood, including The Man with the Golden Arm, Anatomy of a Murder, and Advice and Consent.
Yes.
That's me. I realized that was a lot. I just had a really fun time discussing Preminger.
It's great. A lot of that I already had, so I'm going to skip to because that's how it got made. So I'm going to skip to the music and lyrics and then the actors and castings and talk a little bit about Dorothy Dandridge.
Cool. Yeah.
So obviously the music and lyrics of this were a mishmash of Georges Bizet's original composition of the opera, and of course...
I have a gripe. I'm sorry. I have a gripe, because we're talking about Bizet's opera.
Tell me.
Do you know where the opera Carmen takes place?
Spain?
Spain. It takes place in Seville.
Yeah.
You know what language it's written in?
Is it French?
It's French! It's... Why?
Anna, why does everyone in Les Mis have an English accent?
Okay, hold on. Totally different.
How?
First of all, I'm just so mad. They could have, it's French. I don't think of French as an opera language, and I know operas are written in French, but like...
I mean, opera, and I think Italian, and I know that that's not the case.
Yes,
There's operas in every romance
but, like,
language.
If he was gonna write it in French, if Bizet was like, I'm setting it in Spain because I want this guy to be a bullfighter,
Yeah.
that's a dumb reason. He could have said it in France and it would have made so much more sense. I'm just so confused. It would be like if an opera set in Ireland and they were speaking Portuguese. Like it was written in Portuguese.
It would be like if a musical was set in France and they were speaking English.
Maybe it's a dumb hill to die on and I won't die on it, but I was just like, because I watched a scene, I watched a clip of Carmen's first song, and I was like, this is French.
I love how angry you are about this when it happens all the fucking time.
All the fucking time. Ugh, fine, maybe I'll cut this whole gripe.
No, I think you should leave it. It's great.
Continue. It's dumb.
So, Georges Bizet, French composer.
Famously French.
Carmen was his most popular work, and he ended up dying a bit. He was young whenever he died. I want to say he was like late 30s.
He died after 30 performances of this.
Yeah, so this was his most famous work and is still performed today. And then the lyrics were and some of the composition in between music was done by Oscar Hammerstein. Yes. Who I don't want to get too far into him on this one because I feel like we're going to get so many more that are better examples of him. I mean, obviously he's best known with his collaborations with Richard Rodgers, who they did like Oklahoma Carousel, South Pacific, King and I, Sound of Music, like incredible. He also collaborated with Jerome Kern, and they wrote Showboat, and a bunch of other popular people as well. So, you know, his songs are like standard repertoire. He's written like over 800 songs. Like he's won 8 Tony Awards, 2 Academy Awards. Like he's ridiculously prolific. So that's where the music comes from, is just this sort of like revamping and modernizing this operatic music from the 1800s into something a bit more modern. Now, actors and casting, it's kind of interesting how they got everyone together. So Harry Belafonte was a folk singer and really hadn't done anything before this. He had like 1 film credit, but he had just won a Tony Award for John Murray Anderson's Almanac, and so he had just sort of like punched up in the theater world, and so he ended up being cast as Joe. Pearl Bailey, who was cast as Frankie, who's the only person who was not dubbed by another singer. It's wild, first off, that they dubbed Harry Belafonte. But anyway, his voice just wasn't the operatic style.
Yeah, they needed operatic.
Yeah. Anyway, so she had only ever been in 1 film as well, but she was really popular as a band singer. And so television audiences knew her from appearances on like talk shows, Your Show of Shows, things like that. Joe Adams was a DJ from LA with no acting experience, but he had the right look, so Preminger was like, husky, got it, which is very silly. Diane Carroll had auditioned for the role of Carmen, but she was so petrified during the audition that she couldn't focus, so they ended up casting her as Mert instead. And they had a bunch of people that were tested for Carmen, including Eartha Kitt. Again, I love Eartha Kitt. But
God, I love Eartha Kitt.
Dorothy Dandridge
would have been a great Carmen.
Really like went after this role. She wanted this, and Preminger was like familiar with her, but wasn't really sure that she was good at being sexy, because her most recent role had been like this very demure school teacher in Bright Road.
Very modest.
Yes, very modest, and that was also with Harry Belafonte, which was interesting as well. Now, there's a story. So her agent's office was in the same building where Preminger's brother worked, and the agent went to
the brother's name is
Ingo.
Igor, Ingo. So they had Ingo and Otto.
Ingo and Otto. So the agent went to Ingo and was like, yo, can you put in a good word for Dorothy? And at his first meeting, Otto Preminger was like, you look beautiful. You are delicate like a butterfly, but not Carmen. And actually suggested that she go out for Cindy Lou. But Dorothy Dandridge took the script, left, and redressed, and walked back in and behaved exactly like his vision of Carmen. And he was so impressed that he scheduled a screen test. They did a singing engagement, and he ended up casting her. Now, she did get a bit nervous and overwhelmed by the concept of being Carmen, and actually sent someone to tell the director that she was pulling out because she sort of had a bit of a panic attack about it. So he actually went to her apartment and reconvinced her to take the role of Carmen. Now, there was also rumors of the director and Dorothy Dandridge having an affair during this time.
They fully dated for 4 years
Did they?
after this.
Cool.
Yeah, they fully dated.
I wasn't sure of the time frame. To talk a little bit about Dorothy Dandridge, she was an incredible vocalist, and well known for her performances at like the Cotton Club, the Apollo Theater. She performed as a part of the Wonder Children and later the Dandridge Sisters. And so her film career really started with a lot of uncredited roles. So her first credited film role was in Four Shall Die in 1940. It cast her as a murderer, and it really didn't do a lot for her career. And after that, she ended up rejecting a lot of roles that she was offered that were very stereotypical for Black performers at the time, which were obviously not portrayed in the best light. So she had limited options for film roles because she was being very selective about the characters that she wanted to portray. Fair enough. So she had small roles in Lady from Louisiana with John Wayne, Sundown with Gene Tierney. Those were both in 1941. She also appeared as a part of the specialty number Chattanooga Choo Choo in the 1941 musical Sun Valley Serenade. And that was the first time that she performed with the Nicholas brothers. And they performed a couple of things together as well. Aside from film appearances, she was also in a bunch of what they were calling soundies, which is so silly. Though, of course, if you actually look into the word movies, that is also very silly.
Yes.
So film clips that were displayed on jukeboxes, basically. So Paper Doll by the Mills Brothers, Mr. and Mrs. Carpenter's Rent Party, Swing for My Supper. These were noted not only for showcasing her as a singer and a dancer and acting abilities, but also portraying her as like a beautiful woman. So she ended up being like one of the first African-American women on the cover of Life magazine. Like, she was a noted sex symbol of the time. She was also the first African-American film star to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress, which was for Carmen Jones. And she was also nominated for a Golden Globe for Porgy and Bess. Fortunately, she did pass when she was quite young. I want to say she was in her mid to late 40s, if I'm remembering correctly. I didn't write down the
42.
exact age.
She was 42.
Yeah, and it was from an overdose of anti-anxiety medication, I'm pretty sure.
Jeez.
So, cut short far too early, but she was incredible and had a really large impact on film, given that she was only with us for a short amount of time. She has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. There's been several biographical films made about her. Biographical films.
Oh, no, it's not that she died. A pathology institute determined cause of death was an accidental overdose. However, the coroner's office concluded she died of a fat embolism resulting from a recently sustained right foot fracture.
Because I do remember the whole thing that, like, she was supposed to go to the doctors to, like, get her foot seen to because she had, like, a small fracture or something, and yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt
No,
you.
absolutely. There's a biographical film from 1999 called Introducing Dorothy Dandridge with Halle Berry portraying her.
Yeah. I think my homework might be to listen to her music.
Yeah.
Yeah. To briefly talk about reviews and receptions, this did well. Multiple critical reviews said, yeah, it's... I like this one. The New York Times said it was a big musical shenanigan and theatrical tour de force.
Yes.
So the general consensus critically was, yeah, it kind of worked.
Yeah.
But it did well at the box office.
Yeah.
Variety said that Preminger transferred the play from stage to screen with taste and imagination in an opulent production. He gets fine performances from the cast, notably Dorothy Dandridge, a sultry Carmen whose performance maintains the right hedonistic note throughout. Yeah, that's it for reviews and receptions.
Yeah.
Do you want to do gripes and giggles?
Or singing and dancing.
Singing and dancing. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So the singing is interesting because almost everyone was dubbed. Even though Dorothy Dandridge is a well-known singer and Harry Belafonte is Harry Belafonte, neither of them sang opera. And notably, the director very specifically was like, I want this to have an operatic feel. That's why he didn't like the musical, the stage musical, was because it wasn't an operatic feel and they had changed so much to make it viable for non-operatic singers. So
I wonder if Dandridge and Belafonte had been further along in their careers, if they would have maybe not allowed themselves to be cast if they couldn't do their own singing, but because it was still so early.
So that is part of the reason why Eartha Kitt was not Carmen.
Yes.
She was offered the role, but they wanted her voice dubbed, and she said, fuck no. And
I'm Eartha Kitt.
She said,
no.
I am Eartha Kitt. I am Santa Baby. You are not dubbing me. And so they said, then never mind, because she doesn't have an operatic voice. The two people that dubbed for Carmen and Joe were Marilyn Horne and Laverne Hutcherson. Marilyn Horne was kind of interesting. They had someone else that was like a sort of more popular operatic person that was originally going to record for Carmen and had actually done a few songs, but she hated the process so much and did not get along with the director that she dropped out. So they pulled Marilyn Horne out of school. She was like a third-year opera student and had her record, and it kickstarted her career in a wild way.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting as well. I thought that was really cool. So those were the two people who recorded for that. Marilyn Horne was noted as saying, even though I was at that time a very light lyric soprano, I did everything I possibly could to imitate the voice of Dorothy Dandridge. I spent many hours with her. In fact, one of the reasons I was chosen to do this dubbing was that I was able to imitate her voice had she been able to sing in the proper register. And I do agree that there isn't a weird clash between her speaking voice and her singing voice. It seemed relatively like the tonal effort of it made sense with the speaking voice and the singing voice, unlike and I think of My Fair Lady with Marnie Nixon singing for Audrey Hepburn, and the singing voice doesn't quite match the tone of the speaking voice, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought that was really interesting that they had these two incredible singers and they decided to dub them just because they desperately wanted the operatic feel. And we didn't really have any dancing, so...
No, the only dancing we had was at the club, which was great, and I would have liked more of it, but it's just not really, doesn't fit within the context.
Musical.
No, we had a lot of dancing in Moulin Rouge, so let's just say it ties over. Yeah. In terms of gripes and giggles...
Yeah. I had my gripe.
My gripe was just that while I thought it was really revolutionary that they used such a large amount of the original opera's melodies, opera's just not always very melodic. And there was one moment, particularly in the final duet, where Harry Belafonte's verses were very melodically pleasing and her responses really weren't.
Yeah.
Like,
but I think that's also a part of the emotion that's going on right there. That he's trying to cajole her, he's trying to convince her to come back with him, and she's like, hard no.
It just was a little jarring.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then my giggles were Carmen had some great lines.
Yeah, I didn't really have any giggles. My gripe,
Excuse my dust.
That is funny. My gripe is very much just that she dies too fast, both physically within the action of how long it would take to die by strangulation, and then also within the context of like an emotional like ending for an audience. It was just, the ending was too rushed for me.
Yeah, God.
Do you have fun facts? I have one.
Yes, I do. Oh, I had a moment of joy.
Oh, yes, moment of joy, sorry.
Which was more of a compliment to this film and a criticism of other films. Particularly, the one I can think of is Camelot, whereas we made the note that there just was nothing going on behind the eyes of several of our major characters
Sir Richard
in
Harris.
Camelot while singing. Sir Richard Harris, our Italian Lancelot.
Oh, boy.
But I did...
funny.
I was thinking about that the other day. Just didn't even try. But I thought both Harry Belafonte and Dorothy Dandridge were very good at filling in the space behind the singing.
Yes.
For the most part.
Yes.
They were very good at filling the moments.
Yes. I think my moment of joy has to be Cindy Lou's 11 o'clock number.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy that song. And like I said, I like it when the 11 o'clock number is not the main character.
Yeah. So my fun fact is that this film, it clocks in at 103 minutes of action, and it only has 169 shots. That equates to the average shot length being about 36 seconds compared to the average 8 to 10 seconds that was the standard in the 50s.
Yes.
That's incredible. And I obviously, that's an average, so it's taking into account some much longer shots.
Yeah, the full song,
But like, I commented on that, particularly with Cindy Lou's 11 o'clock number. It was all one shot. And a lot more of this film were longer shots. And I always just find that so impressive when done well.
Absolutely.
Tell me about, was it about
so in
George
France,
Bizet's estate?
Theaters were not allowed to show this movie for like 25 years because the people who owned the heirs of the librettists of the original opera sued 20th Century Fox because they used his music basically without consent, because they were in American Hollywood at that time and it didn't matter. And so in France, they were just like, no, you cannot play this because that is copyright law. The idea that they were just like, yeah, I'm just gonna use his music and not tell anyone or get approval.
And not pay for it. Not get the rights.
So silly.
My other fun fact is, so the difference between the Broadway production and this film production is the Broadway production was obviously limited to the fact that they had a pit orchestra.
Yes.
So they did their best. However, for the film, the music director was Herschel Burke Gilbert. He used a full symphony orchestra ranging between like a 90 to over 105 pieces of instruments, which enables him to, this is a quote, present the music with the sensibility of most of Bizet's original orchestrations as they were meant to be heard.
Perfect.
Although obviously some were modified to fit the storyline, the transitions, but he was like, we're gonna do this right.
Yeah.
Even if we didn't get the rights, we're gonna do it right. And you said your homework was to...
I think the homework should be to listen to Dorothy Dandridge and Harry Belafonte's music.
Yeah. I'm amending my homework slightly because I want it to be listened to Dorothy Dandridge's music. But I also think YouTube is a fantastic resource for opera content. Like, before I logged on here, I did watch like a 2-minute clip of the Royal Opera House, I think's recent production of Carmen.
Yeah.
And it was her song at the beginning. And it was really cool to get to see it as Bizet wrote it.
Yes.
So if you are interested, there are a lot of free online resources to consume this original opera.
Absolutely.
But I think it's a great juxtaposition to listen to Dorothy Dandridge's music.
Yes. Is that all she wrote?
I think that's all she wrote.
Hot damn.
If you are still with us,
Bless.
Holy moly, thanks for sticking around. This has been 5678, a movie musical podcast. This was our Carmen Jones episode. I have been Anna.
I'm still Grace.
Take care of yourselves and others. We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business, like no business I know.